Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Brew and Build. Today we are actually back here in the small town of Orchard Vale. If you haven't seen this is our abandoned town that we created a little while ago. Took a break from the steampunk city and kind of just made this abandoned town. And I gotta say, I really like it. There's still some things here that I want to continue to do, and I need to do some pre-recording for the holiday season, and so I decided why not do some small projects here because this area is not totally complete. And so yeah, this is, if you haven't seen this place, it's essentially based off of Oakvale from the Fable series. And it's basically just this town that used to be a pretty prosperous little orchard area. That's what we're working on today, is just building up a really quick orchard. And it used to be really prosperous and a nice place to live, but then something happened to the area and made it so that this place was pretty much destroyed and abandoned. The only place now that has any sort of person in it is this area, and this is our tavern. And so kind of interesting. I need to actually still go through. I think this is the only building that isn't really dilapidated. You can see there's holes and stuff in those buildings. Need to go through and do that to this one. This is our water mill, but I need to go and kind of destroy it a little bit. And then this is our Colas Gate. If you don't know, we have a teleportation system in this world, and there's some stipulations and rules I won't get into about it, but just to make ease of access to our world, because I have towns that are like, there's one town that in particular that we haven't started fully yet that's 12,000 blocks away in a jungle biome. So that is to make our life a little bit easier. But anyway, so what we're doing today is we're going to be working in this orange area right here, just doing a really quick orchard that is pretty dilapidated, and I don't really want it to be too big of a project. I don't think it's going to be that big. I'm just going to go and put a pretty destroyed wall all around here where the orange is, and then we're going to go through and pop in a few trees that have managed to survive. And then maybe swap out some of this with coarse dirt and all that stuff. And so that's really all it's going to be for this episode. So hopefully it's going to be a quick one. And yeah, I think it's going to be good. Now I need to actually go, and I forgot my sword, but I need to go and get some leather. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back because we're going to need some item frames. So see you in a few. All right, so first things first, we need to get rid of this orange and put in a cobblestone wall. And so what I'm going to do is use cobblestone, stone, and andesite. And the andesite is kind of like a dirtier stone, I think. And eventually I will go back through and transition some of the cobblestone into mossy. I just don't have any vines with me. Actually, we have a vine farm here. I forgot. So never mind. We're going to actually, I have Silk Touch, actually. Can you get that with Silk Touch? No, I think you can only have shears. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back and we'll jump on into some more stuff. Alrighty, so the wall is done and in. Of course, don't have any mossy stone in it right now. I'll probably do that off camera after this video's made. But now what I want to do is kind of transition some of the ground into coarse dirt, and then maybe we will build a tree together so you get the idea of how we're going to be making them. And then we'll just kind of call it from there, I think, because I don't want to do too much for this video because I don't want it to be too long. So let me go ahead and swap out some of the ground, then we'll get into making a couple trees. Alright, so I gathered up some of the resources. You can see I built a tree already, just getting an idea of what I wanted. Now we're going to do it together. And what we're going to be doing is it's a pretty simple tree. Let's see, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. I tend to try and make my trees relatively simple. Let's go ahead, let's bring that down so it's connected. I'm not really a big buff on trees exactly. I'm not ever one to say, oh yeah, let's make a really awesome tree. Oh, that's nice. That didn't actually break the path block. But I want to get into it a little bit more because custom trees are very fun to do. They're a little time consuming, but I enjoy them. Now this one I have kind of a template of how I'm going to do things. And so what I am doing currently is I wanted to make these kind of swampy feeling. And so my idea of a swampy feeling tree is that it's got kind of branches that sprawl out like that, and then they kind of have droopy leaves. And swamp trees, honestly, I think are probably the easiest to build, just because it really doesn't take much. And also, swamp tree, I kind of want them to be as if they've been transformed by the swamp. So they used to be like nice apple trees, like those types of oak trees, but then they've slowly transitioned and kind of become one with the swamp, if that makes sense. Now this one is going to be a little bigger, and so it's going to actually come out by 3. That is as far as it's going to come out there. And here we're going to come out by 2 on this side, and then these sides I actually want to, let's have this one come out here by 1, and then on this side, just to counterbalance it, let's have this one come out this way by 1 and then 1. So it's still relatively like the same in terms of size. This is kind of how I start out trees. This is how it helps my brain to know where the top of the tree is going to be. And I think it kind of makes sense. So then I like to line the trees with these tops with leaves. And that helps me kind of figure out where I'm going to be primarily putting the top. And it just makes life a little bit easier, I think. And you can kind of sort out like, okay, so this one's going to be a little bigger over here. So it's going to connect kind of sort of like that. And we'll see, of course, there will be one on the ends, but we'll take care of that in a bit. This side is a bit longer, so it's going to come out even more. We're using acacia leaves currently. And so we're going to have something like this as our top. It's a little weird, a little wacky, but I like it nonetheless. And then you kind of can make little islands and stuff on the top that show the size of it and help make it so it seems a little bit bigger. You can have kind of these little stick up bits that show a little bit more of the tree and makes it a little bit more prominent on the top. Like that one, I have some little stick ups there, and it just adds a nice gentle slope to it. Doesn't make it feel like a Minecraft tree where it's flat on top. And that is kind of the goal. Now we start working from the bottom and trying to cover up these ends. And so I like to put leaves on either end here, and then I try and put leaves around all of the limbs, just in case so they look like they're one with the tree, as they probably should be. And then we can start adding in some interesting bits here. I like to try and extend down kind of randomly, so that things don't kind of feel like they're all mushed together. We don't want that. We want varying levels of density in the leaves, but we don't want to make it feel man-made, if that makes sense. Because you can really, am I on? Okay, good. I thought I was in the water. You can make trees feel not realistic, and that's not the goal here. The goal is to make it feel as if it's supernatural. Supernatural as in super space natural, not the supernatural like a ghost. We don't want a ghost tree. That would not be necessarily the goal in mind. We're going to have this one droop a lot, and maybe droop down here. Don't want that there because it doesn't make really any sense. And then let's keep going and filling this in. So let me go ahead and fill in a little bit more, but you're really getting the idea of how I go about making trees. This is really what I do when it comes to trees. I really don't try that hard to make them super, super interesting, just because, like, at the end of the day, I'm only going to interact with these trees every now and again. And if they look like presentable trees to me, then I'm happy. I think they look good. And that looks like a pretty a relatively droopy tree for I think it passes. I think it's good. I like it so far. Let's take another look from afar, even further away. Yeah, I think that's good. Now, some of the things you can start doing to make them feel even more lifelike is drooping down in the center area here. We can finally get rid of this. Drooping down in the center and kind of blocking off this area here, making it just as asymmetrical as possible. No tree is the same, so you don't want to have symmetry happening, or at least I don't think you do, because then it just really starts feeling like it's been built by you rather than it's been just grown here over time. And that's what we want. Not what we want. We want it to be grown here. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to fill the air as I build. It's kind of hard sometimes. I don't know if any of you who are also YouTubers will know that this is not necessarily easy to do, talking to the camera as you build, because you're trying to think of the build as you're going. And right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to make it feel almost like a mangrove tree, if that makes sense, like giving it a little bit of a root system. I think that would be good. Oh yes, I forgot we have this down there. And that just adds a little bit of interesting flair. Let's actually break that. Go here, and then let's get the grass and go there. But it is a little difficult sometimes to fill the air. But I think we're doing a decent job. And slab there, and slab there. And I think maybe put a couple fences here and there just to add a little bit of depth. But other than that, I think this is a done and dusted tree, and I think it will look good if we go from afar. Oh yeah, that is good. Now let me sleep, and then we'll add the finishing touches. All right, so I only went and killed a couple cows, didn't kill a ton, but I wanted to throw in some emeralds in item frames just to act almost like crab apples, because at least the crab apples I've seen have are like green, and they are not really that tasty, and they are kind of honestly gross. So maybe we just do a few here and there on each tree just to give a little bit of interest to the tree itself and make you feel like it's bearing fruit of some kind, whether it's poisonous fruit or not, who knows. Let's do one more right like that, and then we can do it over here. We'll do 7 per tree. I think that'll be good. Then we'll scatter some on the ground when I actually have some more. But I think this is gonna be good. It's gonna add a little bit of flair. I thought about editing the leaves so that they actually showed up in swamps as sort of crabapple type trees, where they're just the oak texture but have some different colors going on for showing like the apples in the tree. But I decided to go against that because it doesn't really make sense to do something that specific. If I did do that, I would do what Jeremsy Boy did, and I believe Fwip did that as well, with the dark oak leaves, considering those are the exact same texture as oak leaves. I think that's silly and a waste of potential resource, and you're not really changing much of anything. Now I know that looks a little weird with the item frames, but I like it nonetheless. I think it looks good. So let me go ahead and do one final round where I'm going to make a few more trees, or I'm going to make a couple dead trees as well that have fallen over, and one on the other side as well. And then we'll call it for today. All right, guys, we are done, at least for today, with our little project of making the apple orchard. And I like how everything's turned out. So we built those 2 trees, but I added some birch leaves into them to kind of show a little bit of like decay, if you will. Even the regular birch leaves color will look a little bit more decayed, I think, than the vibrant green. I also have some of these dead trees here that have only dead leaves on them, and I think they look really, really nice. There are 2 trees on the other side of the windmill as well, and one of them is dead, one's alive. Now I have to be careful coming down because our elytra is broken. So in between this episode and next, I will be getting that all fixed up. And yeah, I really like how this has turned out. To me, it feels like a nice little apple orchard. I really, really enjoy how this has really turned out. I think it's really nice. Now, I was gonna do a pathway, but I think I might do a pathway. I don't know. It would make sense for the path to kind of go in here, but I may or may not. I'm not sure, but this is what we've got going. So here are the dead trees that I have built. Here's one. This one's the most interesting. The limbs actually go up and down right here. So that's a little bit more interesting than just a regular old thing. This is the other one. Very simple, nothing too crazy, but I am just so happy with how this has turned out. I just love it. Now on the other side here, there are 2 more trees, as I said, and I really enjoy how they've turned out. They really add to this and make it feel like there was like supposed to be something here, and now it's been finished off a bit. And so I'm very, very happy about it. Is that a scaffolding? No, that's vines. And so I really like it. I think I may do a little bit more with it. I may add some more apple trees like along here that lead up to the temple. And then just kind of makes it, I think they really flesh the place out. Having trees really fleshes the place out and looks really nice. And so yeah, I'm very happy with how this has turned out. This little project has turned out. And so I think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like in real life. And next episode, we're going to be back here, I think, I have some more plans to work here. I just thought this is a good place to work on some smaller projects as we are in the holiday season and stuff. And I wanted to flesh this place out too. This is one of my absolute favorite builds that we've done to date. And I want to continue this and, really just make this a nice place. Well, nice is a relative term, considering it's abandoned, so it's relatively nice. But I wanted it to be more or less complete by the end of the holidays, if possible. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any more ideas for this area, or the Steampunk City, or really any place, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.